Hello, my name is Nick Hallisey. I am your teammate this semester at UWM for the Senior Capstone project. I wanted to put together a quick video to show you how we can set up a development environment that would emulate something you might see in the real world on a software development job, and also create things in a way that makes it easy for us to deploy our code across a shared, development environment. When we're ready to go, say, okay, client, here's your server, and we just drop what we put together on their server. Doing it with this special configuration that I want to show you should make things just a lot easier and I think a lot more interesting. We're going to need two pieces of software. One is Oracle's VirtualBox, and the other is a product from a company called HashiCorp, and the product is called Vagrant. So VirtualBox and Vagrant are the two things that we need. VirtualBox, in case you are unfamiliar, is a virtual machine provider, and Vagrant goes along with VirtualBox to allow you to set up a configuration file that defines how a virtual machine is meant to be configured and run, and you tell Vagrant to start up and configure the virtual machine, and it does all its magic. And the only thing you actually really have to do with Vagrant is issue the command Vagrant up. And it brings up the machine according to the configuration. You won't have to worry about the configuration or understand what's going on. The important thing is just for you to be able to boot up the mock server locally so that you can work on the project and follow along with what the rest of us are doing. But again, most importantly, the point of this is to get you some experience in what you might experience on the job, but also just to make deployment much easier when it comes time to hand this off to the client. So at this point, I'm going to begin by installing VirtualBox. So we can just bring up our browser. Easiest is just going to be searching for VirtualBox. So for Windows, we got this link right here, and VirtualBox 516, download, 117 megabytes. At this point, VirtualBox is done downloading, and we're going to go ahead and install it right away. You can leave all of these default settings the way they are, and also leave the default installation location. It doesn't really matter, and there's nothing bad or weird happening here. Again, the only thing I would recommend you leave is the register file associations, but even that doesn't really matter. This warning about network interfaces is no big deal. In order for your virtual machine that we're going to create to connect to the internet, VirtualBox has to be able to bind its network interface with your actual one to allow the internet networking stuff to pass through both ways. So there might be a temporary interruption in service here, but it'll come back and everything should be okay. And good old user account control with Windows. I don't typically use Windows. I only have it to play certain games that I don't have available to me on Linux. And we don't actually need to start Oracle VirtualBox. So that's all done. We do also need these VirtualBox VM VirtualBox extension pack editions. They're also called the VirtualBox guest editions. We will need those, so we can go ahead and click that and download that right away. So you can see that our file association has already been picked up. Oh boy, stuff going on. Okay, old version of VirtualBox extension pack, sure, yeah. I had to uninstall my old VirtualBox to kind of go through this tutorial, so it's probably not going to be similar to yours. But whatever it's trying to do, just, allow it to install the extension pack. This is disgusting. Alright. I'm pretty sure this is what you would see if this were a fresh vanilla install. Oh, this little star icon and success! One or more disk image files are not currently accessible. That's probably just because of my old configuration here. Okay, so that's all good to go. We can actually close this VirtualBox Manager window. We don't need it. Vagrant is going to be doing most of the work for us. So here, we will search for Vagrant. And the website is vagrantup.com. We're going to go ahead and download it for Windows. Another 100 and so megabyte install. One thing that's important is make sure that it's 186 or higher in version. There was a bit of a defect in 185, I believe, that basically broke the whole application. It's a good lesson in quality assurance or quality control. I have no idea how they managed to release that, but as soon as Vagrant's done, we'll go ahead and install it. Vagrant is going to need us to restart the computer after we're done installing it, so I'll reboot and then come back and we can continue on with the video. Same as before, default, everything is okay. I know this seems like a lot of work and weird stuff that you aren't familiar with, but I promise it'll be a lot of fun once we... Or, I guess I can't promise that, but I hope it's going to be a lot of fun and a good learning experience. So we're going to go ahead and reboot now. I'll see you in a moment. Okay, we're back from the reboot. At this point, we need to open up our Windows command prompt. It's pretty easy to do. I usually just hit my Window key on my keyboard and start typing CMD. Another way to do it, I believe, is to right-click on the new Windows 10, search Start button, and select Command Prompt. The location that you're brought to by default is your user home directory. My username on this computer is actually Games, because I only use it to play games. So I named my username Games. To make sure that Vagrant is installed, we can type Vagrant -- version. And you can see Vagrant 1.8.6 success. We are going to need to download a project now from GitHub called WordPress Distillery. And what WordPress Distillery is a project that's based off another project, called Scotchbox. And Scotchbox is a development environment set up with Vagrant for PHP development. It actually sets up a virtual machine that has a bunch of PHP pre-configured goodies that pretty much every PHP web application needs and uses. It's got the databases. It's got multiple databases actually configured. You just choose what you want to use. Just straight out of the box, it comes with a bunch of fun stuff. No configuration necessary. It makes setting up a development environment really quick and I think a lot easier than doing it yourself. But anyway, this WordPress Distillery application, or project compilation, is based off that other Scotchbox project, but this one is specifically for setting up a Scotchbox WordPress configured environment. So we will go ahead and take a look at it. The WordPress Distillery, it's WP Distillery, it's on GitHub under the username of Flurendurst. I have no idea who that is, but this is the project. There's a lot of good juicy detail in here about getting it set up and using it. But we can actually, we're more or less going to be following along with the instructions on this GitHub page. First, we're going to need to download the project to our computer. I have Git installed by the command line. You probably don't, but I just find it to be the easiest way to work. So git clone, and there's the project. By executing this, it's going to download the project to my home directory. I'm fine with that. If you want to put it somewhere else, go ahead. So cloning into, cool. So it's done. It's really small. It's just a bunch of text files. So now we want to change directories into that project that we just downloaded. So I can type cd wp distillery. Okay, so now you can see we are in the WordPress distillery directory. Now the fun part is all you gotta do is type Vagrant up. And it'll take a moment, but oh god, what did I do wrong? Oops. So I messed up. Step 1, we gotta copy paste stuff. So on the GitHub page, there's run the following script inside your project root to install both Scotchbox and Distillery. This is a big scary thing. Don't worry about it. It's just downloading Scotchbox from GitHub and downloading and moving the configuration files around. So again, we'll just paste that in there, hit enter. Okay, now that that's done, as per the instructions, you know, we could take a look at this file, config.yaml, or YML. It's short for YAML. It's a type of configuration document. There's some good stuff in there we can, I guess, take a quick look at. Games, WP Distillery, and okay, so here's the configuration file. I guess we could change this to America, Chicago. That's what this can be left as it is, but why don't we change it to admin at gotchatraining.org. Doesn't really matter. This one is tricky. I guess we can leave that as is. It might not work, but let's see what happens. We'll go ahead and save this, close it, and now if I go back to the instructions, oh, yep, that's exactly what we said it was going to be. It's Vagrant up. This will take a moment. It's going to download Scotchbox, which is a virtual machine image, and then it's going to boot up and provision the virtual machine using the necessary scripts to get the environment in the way that we need it. Okay, it's done. So what this last line is saying here is it's mounted a shared folder between the virtual machine and your local machine. In my case, everything that is in the C users games WP distillery directory is mapped to the /var/www directory within the virtual machine. So any changes I make inside my WP distillery directory should automatically be visible in the VM under the var www. At this point you're like, Nick, what is going on? Why are we doing this? I don't want to do this, but just give it a moment and we'll take a look and see what we're doing here. To get into the virtual machine, we are going to type vagrant SSH, and that'll bring us in. We need to update the WordPress, that's what WP stands for here, and CLI is command line interface. We need to update the WordPress command line interface, and so, oh look, we're inside Sketchbox. Oops, we'll paste here. Paste might not work. Terminal gets weird in Windows, but yeah, sudo wp cli update -- allow -root, and type Y for yes. Okay, that's done. Because we're doing this from Windows, we need to skip number 5 and actually do this first. We need to download and install a piece of software in our VM called DOS to Unix. And the reason for that is the file endings and file format is askew because of Windows. Windows destroys files with its own formatting that doesn't work on other operating systems. So we need to convert the files that are on our Windows machine that we just downloaded to Linux format. And we can do that by just now following these instructions. I'm pasting by right-clicking. It seems to be working. It's a weird method of pasting, but it works. Okay. Converting config.yaml to Unix format. Alright, and converting shell, shell.yaml, blah blah blah. Okay, and then finally we are going to run this file. So bash setup.shell. So this is going to take a moment, but you can see this is downloading and installing WordPress into the VM. Okay, it's all done. Our WordPress box is up and running. You can actually go back to your computer and access the machine by going to 192.168.33.10. And this is exactly what I was worried about. By default, we had that wp-distillery.dev, and you can see that it's not working. And that is because the Windows hosts file is not configured to notice that that 192 address is supposed to be the WP Distillery address. So, I have no idea how to edit the hosts file on Windows, so we will learn that together. Alright, so rather than edit the hosts file, let's just undo this all and start over, and we'll be back. So to undo it, by the way, I closed that by hitting Control D. Control C I think would do it as well, but actually it might have been Control C. I don't know, I kind of have muscle memory. So if we do Vagrant status, we can see default machine is running. We don't want this machine. We screwed up. Let's do Vagrant destroy. Then it's going to ask to confirm, and we're going to say, oh yeah, because we messed up. Alright, so let's reopen that config.yaml file. It is definitely going to be necessary to change this to 192.168.33.10 under the WP settings URL. Okay, so I fixed everything. Just make sure when you're setting up and you do the config YAML to point to the IP that we need. So 192.168.33.10. And we have a complete WordPress installation here that we can play around with and start developing on top of. When we are all set and ready to be done, we can Control D to get out of our VM and type vagrant halt. Vagrant halt just shuts down the VM. When we're ready to start developing again, you just do vagrant up and it'll boot the VM back up. Alright, well, that's that. What's cool about this is when we're ready to deploy to a real server and not just developing on our local machine, I can set up the Vagrant config file so that all we would have to do is type Vagrant publish or Vagrant push, and it would take our application and push it to the server that we actually want to deploy to. That's what's going to make this really cool, is we can all share the same code base, develop locally without touching everybody else's windows and screwing things up, and then when we're ready to go, we just Vagrant push, and it's delivered. It's pretty sweet, and I hope you'll think it is too. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching along.